Today we're going to look at an introduction to the Multi-User Toolset in Advanced Steel. So let's take a look. The multi-user tools are located on the Extended Modeling tab, Multi-User panel. So you can see we have User 1 and User 2 who has saved to the network. After saving, User 1 and User 2 connects to the network parent or central model structure. So they check out the elements that they wish to work on. In this scenario, we'll use checkout by selection complete. After making the modifications, they're going to check their changes back in and reload to the network parent or central model structure. So for this example seen in the background, what you're looking at is the network parent or central model structure. So for this demonstration, I'll be saving it to my C drive. However, if it was saved someplace else, the workflow would be the same, like if you were to save it on a network. So I'm going to go to my C drive. I'll select the program data, and from there, I'm going to go up and select Autodesk. And of course, for this demonstration, we'll be using the USA install and release 2021. So I'll go and select that. And I've already saved a folder in my work folder. So that's a path that we're going to use for this demo. So I'm going to open up the work folder. So once that's opened, what you will see is a folder I've already created called Multi-User Demo Webinar. So this is the location where the network parent or central model will be saved. I've already saved it and named it Multi-User Demo. So this is the parent file. For this example, you have to make sure that this Multi-User Demo, which is the parent or the central, is not set to read only. So you're going to have to go to that file, and there it is. I'm going through Windows. I'm going to open up the Multi-User Demo Webinar, and then from there I'm going to select the drawing and go to the properties. So from there, you're going to make sure that the drawing file is not set to read only. So that would give all of the other users permission to work on this structure without any adverse circumstances. So that's the first thing you want to check. The next thing you want to check is to make sure that they have full permissions. So in order to do that, you're going to go to the Security tab, and from the Advanced, and it's in the lower portion of the window. So once that is set, you have to make sure that the Include Inheritable Permissions is enabled. Okay, so we can see that it is. So this is where you would be adding the users to be able to share on the network. So this is the first thing you're going to have to do. Once that's done, we will now explore the multi-user panel, create a user one and save it to the correct location where we will connect it to the network model, make modifications using the checkout by selection complete for the columns and checkout partial for the beams on the mezzanine level. For this demonstration, two users called user 1 and user 2 will be used. The template we're using is an imperial template, and it's a new drawing. Each user wanting to modify the network model structure must connect to it. In order to do that, the user has to save the project in the correct folder. So for this instance, it's saved to the network or parent folder. I'm just going to jump up a level, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll call it User 1. Within that folder, I'll name the drawing User 1, and I will save it. The next thing we want to do is we want to go onto the multi-user panel and click the appropriate icon. So in this case, we've saved the model. We're going to go to the Extended Modeling tab, Multi-User Panel. We're going to connect to the parent or network model by selecting the icon. We'll just select yes. You'll be mapped to the last location where you were. So we're going to go up one level and open the Multi-User Demo, aka the network, parent, or central structure. Our middle mouse button, that's a zoom extent shortcut. Just hit the middle mouse button twice. So now the network model is loaded into the workspace, and it's now a local copy and appears in read-only opaque mode. If I select the structure, all the elements are highlighted, similar to a block. Let me just close this down. So as user 1, I would like to add shear plate connections to the columns at mezzanine level. So the columns must be checked out completely. I'll go to the Extended Modeling tab and select Check Out by Selection Complete. Let me just hit the Escape key. I need Checkout by Selection Complete. So by selecting this option, the columns will be removed from the block. All the beams associated with the columns will be accessible, and connections can be added to the associated beams. So let's select. And there we've selected our columns. Hit the Enter key when the selection is complete to remove the columns from the block. So now the columns are accessible as well as the supporting beams for the mezzanine. So I'm good to go to add connections. So let's go to the connection vault. And let's say I want to put in a shear plate. That could be found in platform beams. So let's look until we see shear plate. We can expand that out. Always remember to read the selection order, the profiles, the description, and the options. So I'll select the major, which is the column, enter, and then the supporting beam, and enter. It's not working. Unspecified error. Well, you might run into this. They have to be checked out by selection partial. So let's zoom out, and we're going to hover until we find checkout by selection partial. So I'm going to select these guys. I will hit the Enter key. And we should be able to put in some connections and work on this level. So let's try that again. And there we're able to add our shear plate. I'll just change my visual styles to conceptual. Let's see. So this is what we have so far. We can go into the connection properties and change the side of the plate. So here we have the properties. I'm just going to go to the plates and we'll put that from the plate layout. We'll change the side. So user 1 is working on connections on the mezzanine level. I'm just going to jump ahead to a point where all of the shear plates are added to the supporting mezzanine beams and the columns, and we'll continue. So we've done some modifications as user 1. I'm going to change my view to southeast isometric. There we have it. Now that all the changes from user 1 are complete, what we want to do right now is to reload back to the network or the parent. So you can see external database reloaded. Let's try something here. So I'm saving my work. It's been reloaded. Let's see if I've done this right, or is there a step that I might have missed? So as user 1, I've added all the connections to the mezzanine level, and I've saved my work. I've reloaded, and I'm going now to open up the network parent or the central structure to check. Let's step it up. And we're going to open up the multi-user demo, aka network parent or central file. No connections, but a warning. Wonder why. This model contains objects checked out by other users and is highly recommended not to make any modifications to this model before objects are checked in. If the modifications are made in this model, some users might not be able to check in their objects anymore. So now we know why there were no connections. We have to check in the objects and then reload to the network. So this might happen. Let's close her down. We're going to go and open user 1. Let's step back up. I'm doing a little bit of troubleshooting here. So the last thing we did after modifications, let me just turn that off there, was to load the changes back to the network parent or central structure when we should have checked them in first. So I'm going to select the check-in icon, and you'll notice that all of the supporting beam elements associated with the column will be highlighted. So take a look. So in the scenario, if the user wants to continue working on the structure even after checking in, like you just saw, he would have to use check in and keep checked out. So now I'll select the check-in icon, and what this will do, it will display a dialog box with information about the user and the path where the network, parent, or central model structure is located. So I'm going to save the changes by user 1 and we'll close down user 1 structure. I'm going to go and open the network or parent model. Just double click on it. And hopefully now we can see the shear plate connections have been added. Just holding down the middle mouse button and the shift key to orbit. That's a pretty easy and fast way to orbit while you're in the model structure itself. So user 1, we're just checking to see that all of the connections have been made by user 1. So what we're going to do for the next exercise, create user 2, which will add supporting beams to the frame that user 1 created. So I'm just going to change my view to southeast symmetric. I'll save the model structure. The first thing you want to do is start a new template. You can see it's drawing 1. And for this exercise, it's going to be imperial. So I've used an imperial template called drawing 1. The next thing you want to do is you want to save as, and I'm going to go to the work folder, create a subfolder within the work folder and name it user 2. I'll open that folder and save the structure as user-2. So user-2 has to establish a connection with the network, parent, or local structure. So we'll look at how to do that. This will be done from the Extended Modeling tab. I'll jump up one level and select the network, central, or parent model to link. I'll select Open, and now it will be opened as a local structure. So I'll just close this down. I'm going to hit the middle mouse button twice. That's Zoom Extents. There we have it. The network or parent model structure is loaded into the workspace and appears in read-only opaque mode. When selected, everything is highlighted. It's somewhat like an AutoCAD block. Now, as user 2, I'd like to add supporting beams and clip angle connections at the mezzanine level. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to check out these elements completely. So I'm going to go to the Extended Modeling tab, and from the Multi-User panel, select Checkout by Selection Complete. I'll select the supporting beams I want to work on, and then after I'll hit the Enter key, therefore removing them from the block where I'll be ready to make some modifications. So we've used Checkout by Selection Complete. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and you can see that they are now removed from the opaque selection. Let's go to our connection vault, and we'll be later on adding the clip angle. Let's open up our Advanced Steel tool palette, and on the tools we have a tool set called divider measure, and this is specifically for measuring beams in advanced steel. How does it work? Just select the tool, select the member to divide. I'll divide by system line, and I'll put in a value of 5. I'll select OK. So there we have our little nodes. And from here, I can go in and put in my beams, eye roll sections, and just zoom in. And I'll perp it across, making sure you get the system line. Again, node. I don't have my perpendicular O snap on, so I'm forcing it. By right-clicking and selecting perpendicular from the contextual menu. So there we go. So once that's done, you're going to hit the Enter key to bring up the properties of the supporting beam. From the Sections and Materials tab, I'll change out the section size to 10 by 26. Let me just collapse the connection bolt. So the next thing I want to do is go to the positioning and change the system line to top of steel. You can see everything is done in real time. So let's give it the model roll beam. I'm going to go back to the Selection and Materials panel and X out. So now we're ready to add the clip angles, which we'll be using for this exercise. So I'll select the major and then enter. I'll select the minor and then enter to bring up the properties of the clip angle, where you can see there's many panels where you can change it out and make it your own. Now, I can apply the same properties that have been customized to each end with the similar scenario of the major and minor beams. There is a tool called Propagate. So if I right click on that connection box, I have Propagate Joint. So what this will do is apply the same connection with the beams that have similar scenarios. So that's like a middleman to add joint in a joint group. So let's try that. That was introduced in, I believe, Advanced Steel 2018. So it will be applied by selecting Propagate Joint. There you have it, one shot, all in real time. So think about how that can be a time saver. Again, let's just test it out. So I can change maybe the group 1. So you have 2. And let me just zoom out. Group 1, I'm going to put 3 bolts. So you can see all in one shot, everything's changed. I'm kind of segueing here, but it's a cool tool that I think you should know about. I'm going to put that back to 2 bolts and see it apply across the board. Again, I'm going to go to the joint design and I'm going to make sure I select check and it's okay. That's fine by me. Let's continue. So now as user 2, all of the modifications have been done. What you want to do is you want to go back. Let me just close that out. Close these two out and position the structure. I'm going to go back on the extended modeling. So we have to check our changes in first. Here we're going to select the check-in. Then we have to reload back to the network, parent, or central structure. So let's select the reload. And you'll see the command line will display external databases reloaded. So let's save. We're going to save the structure. I'm going to go back to the location where we will find the network, parent, or central model. I'm going to open it up. And if I've done this right, the elements that user 2 added will be appended to the network parent central structure. And there you have it. So this is an introductory to introduce you to and familiarize you with the multi-user toolset in Advanced Steel. So I thank you all for your time and thank you for watching.